But yeah, first matchup, probably the best matchup for Monsanto. Well, I don't want to say best because he does have Miracle Rogue with Cult Neophytes, which I think might be a little bit better suited. But going to use this Rush Warrior first to try and get ahead of the OTK Demon Hunter. And we have the Battle of the Hats.
Yeah, NoHands tweeting out that he's trying to counter the power of Monsanto's hat by going through a hat of his own, and he had a picture of himself in a hat shop with hundreds of hats last night, choosing the best one. But Monsanto has countered that. He said that his hat is actually to reduce his intelligence so he can pass as a regular human. So NoHands is actually doing himself no favors by copying it.
Yeah. Monsanto's intellect is so massive that he has to keep it in check by wearing a hat to suppress it inside of his brain.
Amazing scenes, and also amazing scenes of these opening hands. NoHands, the thing you want with Demon Hunter is a skull you can get on the left-hand side of your hand without issue. That's why he's kept the double jump. Not sure you would keep that normally there, but it's okay. And you're guaranteed not to put something stupid on the left-hand side of your hand is the main reason he's kept it. But Monsanto also is going to be able to apply a lot of pressure here. And you see how much he's valuing that pressure. He even threw away the Ogre Mancer, which is actually quite decent in this matchup.
Yeah, it's decent, but it's probably a little bit too slow for what Monsanto's trying to do. If you're just like passing turns and then play Ogre Mancer on 5, you're not going to kill him. You don't have reach in the deck, right? So you need to be able to get onto the board aggressively and then follow that up with an Ogre Mancer. So he mulligans a little bit more aggressively for early game stuff to try and just get ahead, which I appreciate.
Yeah, NoHands not messing about either. Putting a 2-1 onto the board is actually a big deal. It means he's going to be able to take down this parade leader if he wants to next turn, or more importantly, may even stop it from being played in the first place. Really making things irritating, which is not a play that is automatic until you've played the deck a few times. You feel like it's a combo piece and you should hold on to it. But, you know, he's got it out there and it's actually providing a real issue for Monsanto's second turn.
Yeah, you could just play like a tempo ETC here, which challenges the Ethereal Aug Merchant on the other side. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you don't rely on ETC burst in this matchup because at a certain point they're not playing minions unless they're killing you. So the best use for ETC in this matchup is either a tempo play, or if you have a bunch of rush minions on the board that live for a turn, then you can use those to cash in additional damage in like the mid game. It's not a finisher card. So I like this.
Yeah,
solid play.
Sense. Yeah, turns out 1-4s challenge 2-1s nicely. But it's not the play he will have wanted to make early on. It's just that NoHands has forced this. So a little cut and thrust between two decks that are against each other, pretty uninteractive, because Demon Hunter's pretty uninteractive against anything because it has no minions to rush into. That's the big issue. But on the other side of that, Warrior does have all that mid-range good stuff that it can make the Demon Hunter have to panic to clear up.
Wow. Gonna part ways with the second Ethereal Aug Merchant. I was thinking perhaps just an I-Beam here, but kind of wastes a little bit of the healing, and I think that's where NoHands' head was at, because sometimes you do need a few turns or a little bit of health to buy if Warrior's able to pick up the pressure. Now Monsanto in a peculiar spot. Double Parade Leader and Playmaker with only a single rush minion in hand, which is probably going to be played this turn. It is a little bit awkward, but Ricard is a must kill. The problem is he's playing right in the Immolation Aura with no follow-up. So he could go Playmaker here and then use the weapon to attack in the 2-1 and then have the upside of next turn being able to go like Parade Leader Coin Rikara and then attack in with the minions on board. They get buffed up. If those get removed or Immolation Aura, then you have Ogre Mancer to follow it up on the next turn. So a lot of different ways to, or a couple different ways to go about this, and I honestly am not sure which one's the best, but I think I like Playmaker because otherwise it's kind of just going to be sitting in his hand.
Yep.
I like the potential for high upside.
It's a tough one because NoHands has had a weird start from where Monsanto sat. Where we're sat, it's quite a normal-looking start, but your opponents don't often play 2 of their spell damage minions on turns 1 and 3, or 1 and 2, whatever it was. So that tells Monsanto something, but we don't know what it tells him, but it's something he would have spent a lot of time working out. He knows about the skull on the left. That's obvious from the keeps and how the game has gone. But he can try and deduce what's going on in NoHands' hand from what he's seen of those weird turns. And I think he's concluded that he can just go as big as he likes over the next couple of turns, because NoHands is scrambling for removal by having to play those minions.
Ooh. Yeah. All right, there's the Ogremancer. NoHands nods, understanding, what that means for his game plan. There's 2 in the deck, so it's not like this is a rare situation, but it is annoying to deal with. It's not super threatening, especially if you're not playing too many spells when it immediately hits the board. And the thing about Demon Hunter is, once it removes the board, it's removing all of the 2/2s as well, because Immolation Aura is really the big way that you get through these wide board states. So as long as he kind of pre-damages this Ogremancer and makes sure that he's going to be able to get it in range of some type of spell damage buff plus Immolation Aura, he's fine. It's not that threatening.
Yeah, Monsanto's going to have to get what he can at the exact right time out of this conditioning. So now is tempting, but that then doesn't develop your board. So I think we'll see him play it next turn after developing stuff. Of course, it might be a bit slow, but he's hovering over it. It looks like he's going for conditioning now. As we wait for the resolve of the Discover, which unfortunately we can't see today.
The suspense is killing me.
Yeah. That looks like a curved minion if ever I saw one.
Yeah, but I wonder if it's just conditioning and then Rakara and then try and keep the Ogremancer alive. It'll go up to a 4/5.
Sure. Yeah, you want to present a problem, but it's a case of what is the biggest problem. Because he's going into the skull turn, and he knows it's skull with huge accuracy here. This is the turn where he needs to apply the most pressure to try and calm NoHands down. It's not going to work. NoHands is just going to ignore it and play his skull, but
Yeah. And, I mean, he is on the clock. Okay, Immolation Aura picked up. He is on the clock a little bit because if he doesn't pick up a good way to answer this from the skull, there's a chance that maybe it gets out of range. He used both of his Ethereal Aug Merchants early on.
I grow impatient.
Which means that he needs, like, exactly Talented Arcanist.
Yeah.
Or I guess Blood Mage Thalnos plus the Moark to be able to try and clear this, but it looks like he's just going to go for it now and delay the skull. This is really smart from NoHands, finding a way to get through it without expending too many resources and still having the skull lined up for next turn. He's just hoping that this isn't a massive reload.
Right.
Monsanto.
Yeah, I was going to say that when you said it's smart. I think it's smart because we can see Monsanto's hand, but if NoHands, I want to say guessed, but that's not the right word because he'll be using more than just guesswork. He'll be using gut feeling and having, which is different because he'll have played the matchup a lot. But if he got that wrong and there were 3 minions coming down there, he would have been in a world of trouble.
Still going to take some pressure, though. Kind of looking at the abilities to clear for NoHands left in the deck. He's got Moar, got the Talented Arcanist, got another Immolation Aura. But outside the Talented Arcanist, spell damage is lacking. Right, Blood Mage Thalnos is one in his hand, but he's still going to take a full turn of pressure here from Monsanto.
And he'd rather not use the Arcanist as well, because then he'll only have 1 combo piece left, which means he's committed to basically drawing his whole deck at that point.
Yeah.
So, but he's going to have to use spell damage. I mean, he might just die here, to be honest. Monsanto investing in the buffs a couple of turns ago, and now he's reaping the rewards of that with this monstrous board. He felt he had the time, and NoHands You know, missed a turn when he didn't skull and took time to clear up, and now look what he's facing down. Can he find a way to clear it that doesn't lose him the game?
Dreadlord's Bite, Blood Mage Thanos, Fell Scream Blast, and then Throwglaive. I mean, this has got to be a clear, right? So Dreadlord's Bite. Oh, never mind. Okay, he's just going for this. A Moarg would be great here. Chaos Strike also could be good. Because Moarg plus Blood Mage Thanos with Throwglaive is almost a clear just by itself. But this is none of that.
He's 19 cards deep, and he's missed every card in his deck.
Yep.
He's going to throw his own Blood Mage?
He can Fell Screen Blast. He needs to Fell Screen Blast. There's lethal represented on board.
Okay.
There's exactly 21 damage on board. But clearing off these is good enough.
Okay, yeah.
And one Fell Screen Blast is not that big of a deal to part ways with.
But look at his hand. That's the issue. He needs to pick up the other skull immediately, or he's just going to die.
Yeah, it is empty. One problem that he could run into is the lack of lifesteal things. He's got an Aldraki Warblade and then the one Fell Screen Blast in hand. No I-beams. The good thing, though, is he does have double Moarg, double Philosophy, double Talented Arcanist.
And 2 draws. There's one of them.
Yep.
Really could do with that skull, though. He's looking down at lethal, I think, next turn. Yeah, he is. 6, 7, 8. Yes. None of these cards have the word skull on them. That scares me.
I see.
Spectral Sight, though. Okay, double jump. I do think skull is the. Oh no, there's one more Spectral Sight in the deck. So double jump could be is a 50-50 to find the second skull.
Gotta go.
Finds it. Looking for Il'gynoth and Talented Arcanist to be the discounted cards. Okay, Talented Arcanist.
Okay. The next turn, he's good if he's alive.
Sticking is the last card in the deck. Or the last card in the hand, Alexstrasza.
Yeah.
I mean, he could just attack face here and be safe from any singular card. I do think if Il'gynoth comes on top, that is lethal. It'd be double Moarg, Talented Arcanist.
He's actually going to clear everything up for maximum safety.
Yeah.
Only makes space, I guess, but that's not a consideration, I don't think. Good habit. And actually, Monsanto's just got that right smile on his face. Yeah, you attack, you close your eyes, you hope you win. You don't play the Crab Rider, so you give your opponent no target to gain health with, I think. Oh, you need it. No, you don't need it. Yes, you do need it.
I think he's going to Alex here no matter what, but might think if he needs to Alex his own face.
Mm-hmm. 35 is not a good number. 36 is kind of one of the cutoff points. It's not a great cutoff point, but it exists.
Yeah. Well, 36 is what NoHands is capable of with a single discount on his cards, right?
Right.
Because he can fit in double Mark, Talented Arcanist, Il'gynoth, Fell Screen Blast, which is 36. He can actually deal a little bit more than that. Right now, he just needs the Il'gynoth. Doesn't find it.
Channeling his inner language hacker there for a moment. Was Il'gynoth's bottom 2?
Yep. In fact, that was the only card that didn't get him lethal that turn. His last 3 cards were Talented Arcanist, Spectral Sight, Il'gynoth. If he had Spectral Sight, he had enough mana to go Spectral Sight, Il'gynoth, double Moarg, Talented Arcanist, Fell Screen Blast, because Fell Screen Blast and Talented Arcanist were both discounted by Skull of Gul'dan. That would have been exact mana, and it would have been 36 damage. So out of his bottom 3 cards that turn, that draw, He had 2 outs for lethal and 1 for not lethal. And now he's dead unless he fell screen blasts this. But he's got a lot of big morgs left in his deck.
So next turn he will go to 1.
No, he won't. He's healing 1 million right now.
Yeah, he's going to get 1 million, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Of course. So he might still win. He's done this before in slightly different fashion.
And Monsanto gets to do it with some bumper cars.
Well,
I think NoHands might still win this because of the tempo.
oh, it's so close. Well, it's probably not close, but in my mind, the working out is close. Monsanto can probably expect to pick off 1 of these per turn and armor up for 2 each turn. Il'gynoth will make the weapon slightly more effective.
There's only 1 swing. He's also got a 4/4 too. He's got 1 dead card left in his deck. But this clock might be a little bit too much for Monsanto to handle, especially since Il'gynoth is actually dealing 4 damage a turn, right? Instead of just 2, because the actual lifesteal, or turning the lifesteal in.
But Monsanto is likely to draw things that deal with it. If he misses once, he definitely dies. I think he might die anyway, but
Yeah.
like he only needs to clear up 1 board and then he just wins the game. Like, just reduce this a little bit, get himself into so his armor actually works.
Yep. We're looking for Stage Dive, Sword Eater, Ringmaster Watley, Troublemaker.
I don't think Troublemaker gets there, actually.
I mean, NoHands kind of has to kill it, right? Or
Okay.
going.
Does he?
I mean, we're looking at lethal next turn.
Right, so
with this
Troublemaker
board.
doesn't get there. Or don't
Unless it kills,
find out.
unless it kills 1 thing, but it can't kill. It can't hit the Il'gynoth. So it actually has to kill something, or he's dead.
He has got a bumper car if he wants it to. That doesn't do anything. Oh, he can bump into the 4/4, I guess.
There's exactly 19 damage on board, with the hero power included.
And he has to bump into the 4/4 to set up a Troublemaker chance of killing something. Well, it's tight.
He's got to kill anything. 1 thing. Oh! $15 damage.
Yeah, you can't win by trading, so you don't even have to work it out. You just leave your opponent with a problem, right? You're like, okay, well.
You trade over the 3/3. I mean, Monsanto's Troublemakers are snipey boys. So I don't know if I trust it. There's 9, 10, 11, 12, 2 fatigue, 14 plus 6, not quite lethal with both Troublemakers going face. And I think that's game for NoHands.
I don't know.
I don't think Monsanto can clear up enough stuff on the board.
Oh, can he put the Runthak in to buff the Riders to 2/2, then put them into the appropriate 3/5s and rely on Troublemaker to do the biz?
So he has to kill Il'gynoth with the Troublemaker and then kill everything. Literally every minion.
Okay. How could that possibly go wrong?
Yep, this has to happen. And yeah, now he can't leave a single damage on board.
So
He's dead.
he is dead, right?
Yep.
Yep. I thought he could leave it so he had a chance of killing both the things, but he can't. There'd always be a 1/3 left over with him on 1 health. And yet again, we talked about the ways of finding ways to win. NoHands looked like he'd lost. Il'gynoth bottom card, or next to bottom card, blah, blah. And he realized, hang on, I can heal to 30 and put a load of 3/5s on the board, which, once again, he finds a way to win it. And that is monstrous. Getting that deck out of the way would have really been good for Monsanto because it's such a powerful deck. And now he's got to try again.
Yeah, he just killed all his stuff. That's insane. Like, he just killed all his stuff, and because his Moargs and Philosophies were all just at the bottom, he just played a bunch of 3/5s on the last turn. Very weird way to combo with the deck. It's like he played Reno and then reloaded with a bunch of stuff. That's honestly what it felt like from the old days. Kind of insane. Very close, though. Incredibly close. If Monsanto just had a little bit more resource generation at some point in the game, that was his. But also at the same time, if NoHands, he lost a 2 out of 3 with 3 cards remaining to just win the game on the spot and had to get creative and still ended up doing it. So very impressive by NoHands. And again, Monsanto just doesn't really have a direct answer to OTK Demon Hunter in his lineup. Obviously, he had the Priest, but it's a pretty easy ban from NoHands. Obviously, you know, Spell Mage and Miracle Rogue are both decks that can beat just about anything. But OTK Demon Hunter is one of those decks that, like clockwork, just does the same thing every game. And yes, they can beat themselves if they have, you know, awkward Il'gynoth and Skull positioning, but those games are few and far between.
This isn't a very standard last hero match all around, actually, this whole match. Like, you're looking at the lineups, it's kind of a lot of 50-50s, give or take, very small amounts of percentage. It's just queue up what you think is best, what you're best with against this deck, and see if you can win 3 games before the other guy does, which is kind of what Hearthstone's meant to be about. But last hero doesn't work out that way, but we're working out that way today, and he's going to go with the Mage. And when you first start playing Demon Hunter, you wonder, how can I ever beat Mage at all with this deck? It's impossible. And then you learn to meet out your resources, you learn to use your healing more, you know, carefully, and then you soon realize, actually, I kind of fancy playing against Mages with this deck after a bit of time. It gets easier and easier, and I think NoHands has pretty much mastered this, so he won't be scared of Mage at all.
No, he's a master at both decks, so he knows the ins and outs of each one. So, let's get into it. Pretty poor opening hands for, I think, both players.
Looking at the hats. He has got a second hat on. I thought he had, yeah.
Oh, he put a... It's the same hat. It's just a tiny bit smaller.
Amazing. What I love about Monsanto is he does this absolutely deadpan, all this sort of humor that he does. He just, I don't know, a slight flicker of a smile just got across his face. Ridiculous he's being, but he just, if you don't get his jokes, he just doesn't care. He'll make his jokes and entertain who wants to be entertained.
Yep. Mulligan's into a decent hand as well. Finds card draw and Encounters Flow, which is ideal in this matchup because your minions are just going to get killed anyway. It's just an excuse for them to play their removal.
This region has deeply entertained me this season. There's been some bad play at times from some of the Friday players in particular, but
yeah, the ones that play on Friday.
Yeah, they don't come back on Saturday necessarily. They've put on a show for us, like the whole region has put on a show for us this time around, and I don't know, I've really enjoyed it so far. All right, NoHands. He's got to get on with casting some spells here. First of all, he needs to move that skull to the left. But secondly, he kind of needs to empty his hand out. It's getting full of just yucky stuff that you don't really want.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of very easy cards to dump, right? Immolation Aura, not that great of a card in this matchup, unless Deck of Lunacy is played. And then Raging Fell Screamer, cool, easy to dump. He's just got straightforward plays for the next couple turns. It's just a matter of if that's actually what he wants to do, if he thinks he can part way with both, but I just don't see a reason why there isn't.
So all he feels is he wants to spend the mana now and put a 4/4 down to slow Monsanto down. Because weirdly enough, chip damage can be huge as the Demon Hunter. If you can just do 8 damage to your opponent with this minion, you win by accident sometimes. You know, we talk about combos, but the combos become an I-beam and another card, or stuff like that suddenly starts happening. So you do have to take care of the board as the opposition, which is 5 damage that didn't go face there from Monsanto, for instance.
Yeah. but he's got plenty of burn in the deck, so I don't think he's too worried about it. Obviously, you can run out of burn in this matchup if they're using their healing cards very aggressively, or if you get them like super close to lethal and leave minions on board.
Tempted to double aura. He's tempted to blood mage I-beam. There's his two choices. Double aura obviously has the skull benefits, plus your opponent doesn't have many minions, so it's not a huge waste. You wouldn't do this against a hunter necessarily. And the I-beam is part of your win condition sometimes, so does it this way, but that means he doesn't get the card draw from the Thalnos.
Gets to get a ring toss online. A little bit awkward. Timing for the ring toss, just because, you'd like to try and play it into a skull turn, especially with the coin used. But I do think this is A-OK for Monsanto to go for.
Yep.
I wonder what the pick is here.
Fair
it's
game.
not going into... Oh, it's not going into turn 6, so, likely your opponent has mana to hero power you down, but you will get value out of it at some point. You just can't forget about it.
Yeah, don't fill your hand up to 9 cards and then go, whoops, that was silly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ever forget about a card, T-Jam. Far more professional than that. Okay, maybe I would. Now, this is a little bit different to the last game, where NoHands now can save combo pieces rather than throw them around, because he's surprisingly close to lethal if he gets the right draws from the skull. I think he won't want to waste any of these, or many of these spell damage buffs, until he's seen what the skull gives him. And also, it gives target for the mage's removal spells to actually have targets, which is something that helps the mage empty their hand, if anything. So you don't want to put too much out there, in my opinion, but NoHands disagrees. He's just going to keep doing what he did in the first game, making space in his hand to fill it back up with better things. And this time he gets to draw a card this way. That's quite clever.
Yep, and has skull lined up for next turn. Sounds good to me. Seems like a pretty clean mask turn here. He could try and see what he gets from Refreshing Spring Water, but then can't mask afterwards. Would only get back 4 of the 5 mana.
I like it because it's going into the skull turn. If NoHands wants to skull after you've just masked him for 9, you can mask him for 10 more. As an option, you don't have to do that. You're looking to Spring Water maybe, but you've got good choices here going forwards. I know it's a bit painful to say it every time, but no surprise there for Monsanto. He's seen how NoHands has been playing the last few turns. These players will know that that means there's a skull there.
I see.
Monsanto ruining that he didn't get a counter spell.
Yep, and now the clock begins. Not really any discounted combo pieces. I guess you could include I-beam in there, but I-beam's already, quite cheap as it is, and oftentimes not even needed for a kill with this deck. But
yeah, when I was learning,
second skull is just in a weird position.
Yeah, that skull is buried
Impatient.
probably for either the whole game or most of the game. When I was learning this deck, I basically didn't use I-beam for kills at all unless I could find no other way. Just use it for removal so often to stay alive.
Often necessary.
It's one of those decks that just seems to have the right numbers of everything, isn't it? Like you've got just enough removal, you've got just enough ways to win the game. Also, NoHands there, when he ran out of mana, timed out. I don't think he's disconnected. I think he was using his time to plan ahead because there's so much going on in this hand.
Yeah. Sometimes you need that little bit of extra time. Okay, another mask, 12 damage to the face. I wonder if he wants to brain freeze his own imprisoned Phoenix here to play around healing. Brain Freeze doesn't have that many great targets on the other side. The Imprisoned Phoenix will very likely die no matter what to whatever NoHands going to do. Okay, I like it.
Yeah, I do too, because he's got lethal in some situations here. It's very unlikely that it will be, but like double fireball and NoHands doesn't attack you, for instance.
Yeah.
Which he will, because he now knows that you've got a rigged fair game chilling on the board, so...
Now we're just counting down the moments till Il'gynoth at this stage.
Which has conveniently, to make the games more interesting, been the bottom card, like in every single game of all the 40 games or whatever it is this weekend.
Yeah, this series could just be over by now.
Good.
If Il'gynoth would just start being in the top 15, you know?
Yep. Double the speed of the broadcast.
Time grows short.
Although people banning priests has done far better work in that regard. Yeah, he might be eye-beaming his own minion here. He might not be as well.
He has 5 attack. He's going up to 16. I don't think he needs to eye-beam
Safe.
yet.
Okay, he's safe.
Yeah, there's no outs that kill him.
I'm just not used to how often he throws out his spell damage, but I keep forgetting that the build now has 5 spell damage minions, so there's no harm in just chucking one out there every now and again. When I was a lad, TJ, we only had 3 spell damage minions. You had to look after them. And it was snowing both ways.
And yeah, walk uphill
Yeah.
25 miles in the snow.
That's it.
Uphill
That's
both
the one.
ways. What a life.
Yeah, these kids today with their 5 spell damage minions, they have it so easy.
So easy. They can just throw them out willy-nilly. They don't even care about them.
Didn't even have the dust for 5 spell damage minions when we were kids.
Okay. Monsanto pretty much just throwing out devolving missiles there to get a card out of his hand in case Rigged Fair Game pops.
Yeah, I think both players have been very mindful of their hand sizes. And it's something that's really a feature of modern Hearthstone in basically every deck. Like Priest and Mage, Demon Hunter. Paladin occasionally nowadays, when you draw 3 cards from your first day at school. Rogue has always been like that. Or at least for a long time. You're trying to dump cards from your hand just to make space to get more cards in your hand. It's a bizarre state at the moment. Just wants that Il'gynoth to do approximately 2.7 million damage.
Bottom 6. It was the very last card in the last game. And he still won.
Albeit via unconventional means. But this is looking like a similar sort of win, really. Heal up so they can't kill you when you're down to your last few cards. And then try and get it done from there.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's going to be very difficult for Monsanto to win from this spot. Doesn't have much card draw left in the deck. His burn, he does have double fireball, Pexus Blast, but NoHands is at 30 life. He needs some like random effects to find damage.
He has a very good feel of when to heal back up to 30, and I know it looks obvious because he makes it look so easy, but when you pick up this deck and you try and do it yourself, you either panic too early or too late. He seems to heal at the right time. He doesn't seem to panic when Il'gynoth's the bottom card. He's just really, really good at this deck.
Okay, keep Ruined Orb in.
Yeah, at the face, which you know is a desperation move here.
Keep digging. I don't know. Netherwind portal. Get a oddly shaped minion that makes things awkward. Okay, cycle another card.
This is horrendous. Like he's had to kill the Moarg, or he might just die to. He doesn't know which card's missing from NoHands' hand, so. I mean, he should know.
Bottom 5.
Yeah, he knows it's Il'gynoth. It's always Il'gynoth.
Alas, poor warlock.
Bottom 2.
TJ? Why? Why is it doing this? Wake up, Monsanto. It's okay. You need another hat.
Every game, his hat just gets stronger, taller, wider.
Every time you look at him, he's wearing another hat.
Okay, not much he can do, but just keep going for it. He could have gotten Mizaki there, and then, you know, maybe...
5, 8, 20. If he pings this now, he's got 20 next turn, I think.
Not many cards left.
All right, there's Il'gynoth.
Ah, but I was getting excited. Monsanto's hand actually had some sort of lethal possibilities.
So did NoHands. Come on.
For the last 17 turns.
He needed one card. Monsanto, we needed to make up weird scenarios where he could, like, live for 3 more turns and then find a weird 5-drop.
But I like the weird scenarios. I've seen this scenario before, and it's 2-0. NoHandsGamer is just taking Americas by storm this year. And I don't know, he just seems completely and utterly unstoppable.
Yeah, on the OTK Demon Hunter especially, it honestly just seems unbeatable. I mentioned at the beginning of the series that this could be a sweep, and we're starting to get to that point, right? The hat game can't stop it. And now Monsanto just has the Miracle Rogue left. And while Miracle Rogue is okay, right? They can get off to some pretty fast starts. They do have some burst combo damage. They draw their deck fast, but they don't draw their deck as fast as OTK Demon Hunter. And pretty much every board that they make just dies to Immolation Aura in the early game.
Yeah,
So a lot of things have to go right for Rogue to have a decent win rate in the matchup. And right now, NoHands is firing on all cylinders.
Are you surprised? Like this is now week 6, and this is his 5th semi-final. Like we talk about quarterfinals a lot because that's good. This is 5 semi-finals. Are you surprised that NoHands has been this dominant this year? Because he really has. There's no argument.
Well, I mean, he did 0-2 a week, so.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know about this one, Neil. I think he's been slacking this year. Really do. You can't 0-2 a week and call yourself a top Americas player. No, I'm kidding. It's been absolutely insane to watch him. He also just puts in the work, right? He puts in the work on his stream, and then I'm sure he plays off stream as well to try and get even more practice with the decks he's playing. Really serious about competing, maintaining his spot, and proving himself. Despite, this week, no matter what happened after he won yesterday, he's in first place at the end of the week, but still obviously incredibly invested, incredibly focused. Now Monsanto has to sweep with Miracle Rogue versus some tough matchups. The toughest one probably right in front of him with the OTK Demon Hunter again for the 3rd time. So we'll see.
We will. Rogues seems to be, I don't know. It's okay, but it's winning 3 in a row. We have actually got now. I don't even know what's this, Teach? You're the analyst. What's this red splodge on his hat?
That is a 3rd hat.
Actual 3rd hat?
Actual 3rd hat. Every game, he's going to get progressively more and more hats. I just hope that this goes to game 5 so we can see if he was really prepared and actually has 5 hats.
5 hat gamer. Obviously now using the power up hats and not the power down hats, so. Unless they're transmitting power down to NoHands, of course. It's hard to tell.
I see a Kurt.
About it.
Oh. Ooh. Okay.
The uncrowned.
Tempo.
Yeah. He's just going to go for it.
Outcast cards could be quite good.
I mean, you were saying that it's hard for the board to stick. 3 health is the number you want to at least try and stick things. They still probably go down with spell damage and such like, but at least you take something with you. And the Illidari study is going to be interesting in the hand of a rogue.
Yeah. I wonder what he's specifically looking for. Maybe just more tempo things. You can get, like... I mean, I guess he could just get a skull.
Get Stelina and move her to the left-hand side and then play her on turn 5.
Ah, yeah. Stelina could actually be really good for the possibility of just getting the Il'gynoth out.
Yeah, or just take
end,
out a
right?
skull early on for some tempo.
Or take out a skull early on, sure.
In fact, I think that's what he's going to do. I think he will play the Illidari studies on turn 4 or 5 to try and do exactly that.
No one crosses the
Well, now, this is pretty cool. He gets 2 of them because it's still the last card.
So he could play the first one early to set up a second one. And Stelina's decent tempo as well. She's not amazing, but I think she's 4-3, right? So.
Oh, or Glide.
Oh, yeah, okay. Rogue with Glide. We take that, especially with this bad hand. Well, it's not bad hand, but medium
I
hand.
grow impatient.
They'll refill quicker than the Demon Hunter will.
This could end up being a pretty cool game.
Monsanto has a lot of pretty cool games. Usually for good reasons, sometimes for bad reasons. But either way, Monsanto's games are the best games. Yeah, he's either giving his opponent a Cthulhu for lethal, or he's coming up with cool plays that actually win.
So many.
Yeah, this is a little bit of an awkward turn, though.
This might be just...
Could go for Secret Passage just to find Octobot, but I don't know how good that is. He's got 2 in the hand. He could also like Guardian Og Merchant the Vanessa and then just dagger up, but also not that great.
Play 1 studies just to get the second one in the right place, like get the cost of the second one down.
Sure, just like see what's in the box.
Yeah. To make sure the thing you find in the second box is cheap in the right position. That's what I'm trying to say.
Too soon.
And to work backwards, he needs to know if he's Kazakasing next turn or not. Bit late for a secret passage now, so he's not going to be doing that. I guess you can't force tempo if it's not there. Sometimes you just have to do what the game gives you.
I mean, this is some amount of tempo, but really not that much. So it's going to be relying on Kazakus next turn, and then for these Illidari studies to try and find disruption, any type of disruption.
Oh, seriously, look at NoHands' hand if that skull's not there. Just some bad cards.
Well, yeah, but the skull is still in an awkward position, right? Fellscreen Boss, Talented Arcanist, not the cards you want to throw away the most, especially in this case. And then Il'gynoth is going to be on the far left, and he knows that it won't be discounted. So this is not like just one of those, you know, pretty automatic hands from NoHands. It's a little bit more difficult to navigate.
We're assuming that Monsanto hits a Stelina. He might hit, like you say, Glide, but now NoHands has played around Glide by going to 4 cards. Doesn't quite work like that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Not going to be 4 cards for long. Going to be a Kirchu's next turn and then Skull. Still on curve, right? It'll still be on 6. It'll lose the discount because Kirchu's is an outcast card itself.
If you have 1 minion, it will attack like twice.
Yep.
Health and +2, okay. So now he has to stick one board ever, and he wins the game.
Yeah, essentially. That can feel incredibly difficult against OTK Demon Hunter, though.
I grow impatient. I see.
Because it feels like their Immolation Auras deal infinite damage.
Monsanto was expecting that card to be a skull, I think. As in, he wasn't expecting to be played this turn.
Yeah.
Now I guess he reveals whatever his plan was to us.
I mean, it's got to be one of the forms of disruption that we mentioned.
I think so. Because he really went for it specifically as well.
None of these are it, but could kind of take the board bat a little bit with Kirchhoff's.
Mm-hmm. Or the Gnarg, actually.
Yeah.
My eyes for vengeance.
Not messing around. I thought he might sort of re-roll by playing the second studies, but he's going to try and get the maximum value from the 2 studies. The bad news for him now is that means that he does get an opposing skull. That's not too bad.
A second skull discounted. And should have a decent amount of dumpable cards that come on that side of the hand, right? So
yeah.
I think that second skull should be able to be played at some point. Even if you're just drawing the cards at this point, maybe that also gets there.
Counterpoint to that, though, if he doesn't get there, he's in quite a lot of trouble. Because that is his second skull, and he's never playing it from the left. So, unless he gets down to like 3 or 4 cards and he knows his exact draws, etc. So, even though it should be easy, if he doesn't get there, it will be a mess. Now that's Monsanto's cue to just go for it, play a lot of stuff.
Yep, that's some big stuff.
He's chosen to position the stealth on the left.
Okay.
And the Divine Shield on the right.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting, but I don't think it's super relevant at this point because Fellscreen Blast, I don't think could come out. There's already been a Fellscreen Blast played.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Monsanto's just thinking, I don't think he's going to play another Fellscreen Blast anyway because then it'd be hard for him to win.
Sure.
Maybe he just wants the Stealth Minion to be alive most often in this case because he can Tenwu it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, having that on the left I think makes sense. Not so sure about the Divine Shield on the right, but we'll see.
You're paying for my
I guess it means that NoHands has to pick one or the other if he does try and clear them, which again is very irrelevant anyway, because like you said, he's probably not going to do either of those things. And he does get into this skull. This is a massive deal now.
Yep, can also go... Oh no, can't go Morg, Immolation Aura. Would have to go Morg, Ethereal, Aug Merchant, Immolation Aura.
He's going to.
Okay.
He miscounted something. Oh, he didn't attack.
He needed to attack first. Yeah, he needed to attack first. In order to clear. A slight misstep. And you know, with that many moving parts in a turn, I mean that's a difficult puzzle to solve, right?
Yeah, especially I don't think we've made this reminder in a very long time, but he is using the spot on his glasses to be recognized by a camera, so he does have to do things a bit quicker than if you're just using a mouse. So those things can get misordered occasionally, but that was an unfortunate one. Going to be a costly one. It's a lot of damage he's going to take now instead of that being cleared.
Yeah. Okay. I guess field contact Cold Neophyte. Just kind of load up the board. NoHands is essentially out of cards. He's played both skulls, so that's a lot of resources expended for him. Good news for NoHands is he's actually not that far away from just having the combo anyway.
Right.
Because everything in his hand is a combo piece, essentially. Gonna be a little tougher now with spells costing a little bit more. He can't like aggressively draw through the deck. But just a Fell Screen Blast alone is 18 for the time being, with no extra spell damage.
Yeah, so getting there, but he does need to do more. Airstrike, not the worst scenario for that, just chipping you a little bit away. But he is dead in probably one turn as far as he's concerned.
Yeah.
Wicked stabs, Alex Strazers, all that stuff on top of the board we can see. And the thing is, with this board, he's not able to get the tempo he's had in other games to try the backdoor win. If he clears this and uses up his combo, he is out of this one.
Yep. That is 24 damage next turn that he has available to him. But again, has to use this I-beam. Philosophy off the top would be enough.
That's it. Monsanto is sitting on the double stab.
Yep, he did it.
Game continues, TJ. Well, the match continues. 2-1.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, that the one misstep that NoHands made could have cost him because he took multiple turns of extra damage there, right? If he was able to cleanly clear that board and take less damage from that turn, right? Because, you know, at the end of the day, he wouldn't have attacked into that 5-attack thing if he knew that it wasn't going to die, right? Because he was just wasting a charge. He probably would have attacked face to gain more health. That could have maybe like salvaged things. But he was a draw off the top from winning the game. I believe he would have had mana to Philosophy, Double Malark, Talented Arcanist, Il'gynoth, Fell Screen Blast, and Hero Power for the lethal on the very next turn. So could have been quite the costly mistake for NoHands in the series. Now, Demon Hunter is gone, so I think we have a little bit closer of a series on our hands now that the Demon Hunter's out of the way.
Absolutely, and I don't speak Spanish or French, but I'm pretty sure that NoHands was unimpressed with that.
Yeah, kind of realizing the mistake at the very end. But he's been clean thus far for essentially everything except for that one turn, so don't blame him.
No,
but yeah, now NoHands going to switch to Libram Paladin. One thing about the Libram Seeker Paladin is it can get off to a slow start, and if it falls behind, Blade Master Samuro is and Libra of Justice are really the only ways it has to come back from like a deficit on board, especially if Rogue's able to go wide early and play for tempo. So this match can snowball out of control on either side, honestly. For the same reason, Rogue does not have that great of comeback mechanics if they fall too far behind on board, or if they take too much damage in the other game, it could snowball in the favor of the Paladin.
How do you feel about first day of school now that it has been rebalanced? Do you think it's better or worse in this matchup in, you know, more minions or less minions?
I think it's the same. The minions come down one turn later, but you get one more of them, right? So you're more likely to hit the better one. The better ones. Okay. And, you know, the ability to have one more one-drop to hit Prize Plunderer, right, I think is massive.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because that's quite obviously the best. Because it synergizes with everything else that the card does. Here's 3 cards in your hand for 1 mana, and one of them deals damage to something based on how many cards you played. Cool.
Sure. Okay. Wording it that way makes it seem so much more obviously good. Yeah. Talking of obviously good, Monsanto's hand falls into the category of obviously good for me.
Yep. Double Octobot with a field contact in hand. Yeah, sign me up.
But it's going to get trashed.
Well played.
That's actually pretty insane.
Yeah, that's almost
like on turn 2, that he's able to make a 4/5 minion. That's like the ideal start. And this is what I'm talking about of snowballing, because now Monsanto just doesn't have a great way to get rid of this. He has to like wicked stab this turn.
Yeah, or
And
play
NoHands has follow-up.
Tenwu. But just play it. Because it's a
Yeah, I
3/2,
guess.
and then you can stab next turn if your opponent doesn't play Oh My Yog.
True. Yeah, I was looking at like stab, and the next turn would be dagger up efficient octopus. But obviously there's punishes to that too, right? Because if he uses wicked stab and then another buff comes out, then what?
I love it when my opponents destroy me
Oh
on
no,
turn two.
it's actually only 3 mana, so never mind. Wicked stab's not that good. I think Tenwu has to be the play. And then hopefully set up for a wicked stab next turn, because wicked stab's only rank 1, so it only deals the 2. This is brutal.
Oh no! Now it just dies to Penflinger's sword. And who cares that you lose your Penflinger?
May not lose his Penflinger.
Yeah, that as well. Like your opponent has just told you they can't kill this. I mean, you probably guessed that anyway, but they've told you, and they told you they're going to stab it. So see what secret you get. I don't know if you know.
Let me look. Galloping Savior.
I'm looking for
Okay.
a few good mercenaries.
Kazakus could bail him out.
Five rush prey.
Ooh, deal 3.
Yeah. Give me some of that deal 3 action.
These are all the come from behind options that Kazakus is offering. Not too shabby.
I mean, the one thing I guess Monsanto's got here is when your opponent plays all of their cards on turn 1 and 2, if you do eventually get out of that with any health left, you're kind of in a good spot.
Yeah.
There's a long way to
But-
go first.
And honestly, just the Penflinger and a Libra of Wisdom on the board is threatening enough, right?
Yeah.
It's not like that big of a deal. He's also pulling some of the poorer cards out of his deck with the Sword of the Fallen. Now he's got the full suite of secrets with this pulling Reckoning. So it's Reckoning, Galloping Savior, and the Omayag that was played from hand.
Yeah, Truth Seeker next turn, no matter what, pretty much. Nice spot to be in. Libram, but yeah, it's just nonsense, isn't it?
Options.
He's in a really good position.
So that is rush deal damage, I believe.
I wonder.
But it would die because of Reckoning.
Right, yeah. Reckoning's just weird like that.
Yeah.
I forget it every single time.
But it clears the board, which is something. Gets the Reckoning out of the way, which is also something. I don't know if that's even like that high of an upside.
I think it all matters.
Yeah.
You're behind the Paladin on cards. You've taken more damage. They've got 2 secrets up. And they've got a Libram of Hope next turn. All right. Well, good luck.
Good luck. Okay. I don't know if he could just need... Okay, he knew it was on my Yogg. He actually targeted the Wicked Stab at his own face. I was like, oh, geez. Oh, Power of the Wild! Cool.
All right. That's a minion. Great. Good for you. I think you might have to passage here, then next turn go off with contacts and yogs and bots and things. Yeah.
Yep. Only issue here is if he's playing another card. Ooh, okay. Well, now he has a way to deal with the Galloping Savior. Ooh.
Yeah, just do the things. Gallop the Savior.
Actually, no, he doesn't. He hasn't played enough cards.
Choose
Care to make a wager, friend?
Because that's the Power of the Wild, Secret Passage, Boxy Fraud. The prize plunder will be 3.
Look what I want!
Okay.
He doesn't have enough time to see the outcome.
No. I bet he's praying he doesn't hit this shadow step. Oh, he's got it.
Oh, he did.
In.
Yeah, to deal 1 damage, using the Shadow Step to deal 1 damage. It does pull the Shadow Step out of his deck, which I guess is something.
Was that right, TJ? Would he have been better hit off doing 6 and hoping there's no Living with Hope? Onto the 5/7 here? Or even doing 3 to it in the first place and then doing 6.
And then hoping to hit Shadow Step. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, because he was never killing the 3/4, so you might as well try and kill the 5/7, right?
Yeah, but then he gives the Lemur back over. That's 1 extra pen flinger that could come out the next turn. Very minor difference, right?
I think he was questioning himself there. He sort of squinted and sort of looked at the sky, which is Monsanto code for I'm not sure that was correct anyway.
Or is Monsanto code for I should have brought more hats.
Gonna need a bigger hat.
Yep.
It's quiet. Too
And
quiet.
it kind of got to go. Has a prize plunder potentially to end this with. But it's just picking up expensive stuff. I mean, there's the off chance that like Runed Orb can pick up Coerce.
Sure.
Okay, Shooting Star.
Alright, well he can get rid of 1 minion, then lose his board. Eat 5. Nice.
choose 2.
I mean, there's always this feeling with Rogue when you get to this position that you're just running up an infinite hill for no reason.
Yeah. Okay, well, Librum of Judgment could act as a clock here. If no hands. I guess he has to kill the field contact, so can't throw everything to the face and just say, all right, I'm setting up lethal.
Yeah, he
Unless
needs
it's
to,
guaranteed, which it's not.
Like, is he the control or the aggro here? That's what he needs to work out because he can easily choose both ways and function
Both.
within that as long as he picks one, right?
He's the control and the aggro.
Okay. What you're saying is he's winning.
Yes,
Move quickly.
by a lot. Monsanto does have a way to get his hand discounted, but has to go for an insane turn and doesn't have prize plunder anymore. To kind of like finish the turn with that big swing.
Okay.
So he's going to start the turn with an Octobot and Guardian Og Merchant and then just try to pop off. If he makes a big board here and goes for a Massive Swing, what's the last card that he played?
Penflinger? No, whatever bounced the Penflinger. The Yogg. Oh, my Yogg.
Oh my God, okay. Oh, okay. So time to go just real wide. Play it all.
And, yeah. It's about the removal you find along the way.
Bustion.
Choose 2.
I guess he, from his perspective, he needs to clear off this Librum. Yoink. The only thing. Oh, Sinister Strike.
With a cherry
Yeah, I don't think he cared. I think he just picked whatever had the cheapest number on it at that point.
Well, they were all costed 1 mana.
Yeah, okay. Therefore, I think he picked at random.
I think Yoink had the most flexibility there, but
Agree.
I guess he thinks that maybe his way to win is pushing these minions through and then Alexstrasza.
Yeah, when it wasn't coerce, I think he was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, NoHands starting to run out of stuff a little bit here. And he wants to start pushing the Libra of Judgment to really start threatening Monsanto. But here, if he wants to clear more stuff from the board, then he wants to get the Libra of Hope. It's also a big minion.
Yeah, he's got a lot of things he wants to do this. Like, he wants to make sure at the end of the turn that he's got a potential lethal on the board as well, if possible. Stating the obvious, because you always want that, but he can actually do that here.
Still a tough choice. I think you hit face and then end with Libra here. The Libra of Hope, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no, Libra of Judgment sets up a guaranteed 2-turn, sorry. Or not guaranteed, but nearly.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah, because you've seen Kazakus, so... I think you've seen Kazakus, was that this game? Yes.
Yeah.
Early things.
Yep.
That 4-5 seems like about a week ago.
Okay, so this is tough. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. Like 6 minions left in the deck out of 8 cards. I was thinking maybe he could get Jandis and then get a taunt. I think that's the only way he can survive unless he Alex's his own face.
Then he can't kill the 8-10, I don't think.
Then he can't kill the 8-10. Has a Brain Freeze left in the deck? All right, Brain Freeze Jandis. I mean, that's the out right there.
TJ called it. Now just roll the right things. Kill off a minion. Just get it out of the way.
Needs a taunt. If he doesn't find a taunt with Jandis, all of that was for nothing. No taunt. He's dead.
Can he kill the Totem of Goliath?
I did.
No. Good recognition of the situation, though, from Monsanto. Alex's own face never wins in that position. In fact, there was 15 damage on board. He would have gone up to 12. So he would have had to kill and Alex's own face. Just didn't have the means to do so. So a valiant effort. He was finally able to take down the OTK Demon Hunter, but at the end of the day, NoHands takes the dub, moves on to the finals. Another finals appearance for NoHands. Another week of ending in first place. He was actually guaranteed to end in first place at the end of the week, but now he's just going to end in first place with even a bigger lead over second place.
Yeah, I mean, there are situations tonight that can happen where he ends up so far clear that he's guaranteed to finish in first place after next week. That will
or
be
if he earns, he'll need to earn like 1 point or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? Because he can get 5 points ahead from the next person in line. Because he was guaranteed 18, 19, 20. Get in with 20. Now get on, if he makes it to the finals and loses, could end with 16. So it could be the only person that passed him. So if he wins this week, he only needs to earn one point next week to guarantee he's at least tied for first place.
Yeah, and then there'll be tiebreaker implications, which means some of those people on 15 won't be allowed to overtake him because he's won twice. And I think your best performance is your first tiebreaker, so winning twice will eliminate Luna, for instance, who, although she's got a stack of points, hasn't actually somehow won an event, even though feels like she wins every week. So yeah, he's in a great spot and looking good for it as well. Like, the biggest mistake we've seen him make in ages is attacking in the wrong order in a difficult Demon Hunter turn.
Yeah, I can't even think of any NoHands play that was worse than that, and that wasn't even like that bad, right? It ended up being big in the scenario of the game, but it was a small slip up, not like a big macro slip up, right? So NoHands will be moving on to the finals, and I think that he's proven himself over the season, regardless of the outcome, that he is a top player, if not the top player, the player to beat in Americas currently. But we do have another semifinal to determine who will face off against NoHandsGamer. In the meantime, we're going to have to go to a quick break, but don't go anywhere. More Hearthstone America's Grandmasters action right after this.